Hey guys, this is Jennifer from the Shooter's Mindset. We are live with the episode 360. We have a kind of spur of the moment episode. We wanted to get Shannon in here before the end of the year and talk about end of the year stuff with PRS because everything's kind of wrapped up now finally. So we've got Shannon Kay here, the director of the PRS. How's it going, Shannon?
Hey guys, how's it going? I seen you guys, it felt like yesterday. It was almost yesterday. It was 3 days ago.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, man, it's good to be here. That was an awesome event. I know you guys talked about it, so we won't too much today, but congratulations to everyone involved, and thank you guys for coming out and covering it. And sorry about our poor sales service, but I think you guys did it, so good job.
Hey, the sun came out on the third day. It was just the first two when it was cloudy. It was so bad, but the end of the third day, which was the important time, it kind of cleared up and we could get some live feed. And I think it was pretty good. So I think we were fine.
Yeah, I just turned the video on and screwed it up. Okay. I can't watch the live video and be on the live video.
You can, but you have to turn your volume down because if you have your volume on, it'll give feedback.
So
Okay.
mute where you're watching it.
So mute where, like when you pull it up, it'll have a little thing at the bottom. You can mute it, and you can watch.
And that's where all the questions and comments will be. Okay.
Yeah, comments will be there.
I got it. Okay, cool.
So
right.
I think everybody knows you, Shannon. So we're not going to go through the usual, like, tell us about yourself because we've had you on the show. I can't even remember how many times. But we'll go ahead and just jump right in. So tell us, the 2021 season is now over. How did that season go overall?
Surprisingly well. Big picture, I think some shooting sports really struggled, whether it was COVID or ammunition shortage. I think we lucked out or maybe we didn't luck out. Maybe it's just the draw to what our match directors are doing. We did not see a decline in our numbers, and in fact, many cases we saw an increase. So, very happy to keep our numbers the same. We dropped a few matches, but we're gaining a few more for next year, and I know we'll get into that. I think everyone knows the Centerfire series and the regional series did awesome, but what's really impressive is if you look at our Rimfire series, we are, and I haven't really announced it yet, we've been so busy with everything. People are making fun of my shiny head already. Dang. Okay. So the PRS Rimfire series is the largest practical precision rifle organization in the country now after its first year. And that is awesome. So we have more clubs, more matches than any other organization out there. And that is really a tribute to all those match directors that are getting after running matches, putting it together. And so I think the concept that the committee came up with as far as nesting it with what PRS matches are in Centerfire and applying that Rimfire to it has been just absolutely phenomenal success. So all credit to those regional directors and the match directors and the shooters that are responding. And it'll be really interesting to see that. I'm really excited to see their growth, especially next year. Especially in our second season, is usually see it take off as people, that are watching the shadows be like, hey, I'm gonna come do this. So I think that's the biggest kind of point, but there are many others.
I think the 22 is just a great avenue. It's such a good way to get in. I mean, that's how Allison Zane started, right? And look at her.
Yeah, and I think you go to as the Rimfire Finale. We obviously host them at K&N, and I'm looking. It's just there's no air pro. The vibe is different, but it's the same. And it's obviously got the same amount of helping new shooters and people helping out, good sportsmanship, and I think it's so much more attainable. There's so many more venues that it could go to. I think we're still just scratching the surface. But they have 375 matches in their first year. That is just like silly. I mean, silly. So, I just want to congratulate all those people that are part of it.
That's awesome. Y'all have been really, really busy lately with the Pro Series finale, the Rimfire finale, and the AG Cup too. So how did all of those actual events go? I mean, you had the series all year, but then I know the finales are kind of a big busy time for y'all, for you and Julie, for sure, because you have so much to do with that. So how did those events go in particular?
Yeah, so we drove out and prepped, and obviously Derek Love helped us out a bunch out at the finale in New Mexico. That was a long drive, and our trailer was not weighted correctly. So that was like screwed up, and I was too lazy to fix it. We set up there, we came back, we immediately had a training event at K&N, and then we had a bit of work during Thanksgiving due to a Canadian contract that we have, and then another special forces contract, and then I don't even remember. Also knows I haven't been in my house in the past 3 months, or longer than 7 days combined. So we went out to the Rimfire Finale apprentice week, and guys, so I'm gonna hit one of these questions right now. Texas Precision, those guys crushed it, and they did a phenomenal job. And I know some guys are, hey, why are we doing it again in Texas? And I'll announce that right now. We're doing it again in Texas next year, same time, same weekend. We'll finalize the weekend. That's what it's looking like for now. And the reason why is because they do such a good job, and because they do it centralized, and I want to allow more growth. I know guys want it rotated, and we will, guys. We'll generally keep it on rotation. But I think as we go forward, both in the Centerfire and the Rimfire series, we're looking at venues that have the reputation, the experience, and the wherewithal to put on the phenomenal event. I think that's most important. And then secondly, yes, we want to rotate it. And then like the Centerfire Finale, we need a venue. We had 350 people at that banquet. So we want to make these events. We want to recognize this achievement these shooters are doing. So our venues are getting fewer and far between, but some are popping up, and we'll find more. I do expect it next year. Obviously, it'll be in Texas. The year after, we'll move it east for those guys, and we'll start to get that plan. And probably mid-year, we want to try to announce those a little bit more. So that's the justification for that, but it is not going to be a permanent thing. We will rotate it. So just one more year in Texas. That also has some administrative underlines to it. I know not this year, the schedule's announced, we'll only add, but I know the committee is going to consider, once the rules are done, sliding the finale to September. So that is a huge synchronization process with a lot of admin notes or admin tasks that go along with it. So all the series need to be nested for memberships and stuff like that. So little warning order there. Like we're considering that. The committee is obviously going to vote on it. But yeah, that's the Rimfire Finale. That's a justification, and we will move it, guys. So just give us a little bit of patience. And I'll tell you, if you're a little hesitant to drive, I know a lot of Rimfire guys don't do it. It's very local and regional at best. Going down to Texas is worth your while. Those guys put on an awesome event, and they should be rewarded for it because they did the PRS brand. They did the shooters and the course fire justice. I just got to make them a little bit softer in that course fire. So I'll talk to Corey and Prentice a little bit after this. So
I've been told that match has the best food in the series.
It does. Yeah. College Station. It's just a cool town. It's centrally located to all our shooters. I really want to get the concrete dry in that Rimfire series, even though the numbers are great. Before we start moving around, I got to get to know the shooters. We got to get to know the regional directors. Right now, they're making sausage in the committee, clarifying some rules. And so one more year, I think it's going to be healthy overall in the bigger picture, even though I know some shooters will be a little disappointed in that it's not closer to their home, but they shouldn't be. So.
Are there any comments? I'm trying to get
one more year. I think it's going to be healthy. It's not me. That's
it was
great.
me. I had to get it. I had to hit the button.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull the comments up, and they're disappearing. So, do you have any lives, Greg? I
Yeah.
can't.
Bill Hobbs wants to know: do you know where the PRS Centerfire Finale will be next year?
We talked about it this weekend with a few guys. Here's where we're at with that. It's the East Coast term. So it definitely won't be central for keeping the Rimfire there. We went out west this year. I put it out when we launched the schedule months ago. Hey guys, anyone interested in doing it, we'd love for you to do it. You need to be able to host 20 stages at the same time, obviously have match experience, and have a banquet facility very close to the site that can support up to 350 people. It sounds simple spoken, but it's pretty hard. I've gotten no responses on it. And I think everyone thinking, well, default, we're just going to do it at K&M. I know a lot of shooters will be happy with that. But I have my own personal thoughts on overusing K&M as the owner of K&M. The cup, and we had the grind, and obviously the Kahalas match. Those are great events, and they could have, but overusing a facility has consequences, and it's usually the next year. So we're trying, and that partially goes into, obviously for the PRS, it's very easy because it's close to us, it's close to our home base. It makes a lot of sense. We can put on a quality event. So that also tied into what we're looking at for why we went to Texas as well. If we're hosting the Centerfire Finale at K&M, then we don't want to do the Rimfire the same year. And with Tom choking me out to do the AG Cup, I am highly, highly concerned. So I am considering right now maybe finding a different venue. I don't think it's going to be quite ready, especially from zero to finale without any proof in their concepts. But I also would love to hear from somebody. And that's also why the committee wants to take up potentially looking at moving in September. I think it'll open up more venues for us as we start to get out of the Sun Belt a little bit. So if I had to guess right now, 90% at K&M, Rimfire Finale in Texas, that's a lock. AG Cup, K&M, that's a lock. And then I think by first week in January, we'll make that announcement as far as that Rimfire, as far as the Centerfire, but it's leaning towards K&M unless someone steps up to the plate and can meet those requirements. What are your guys' thoughts on it, Jen? Greg? Come on. Sometimes I'll ask you the hard questions, right?
No, so K&M is probably my favorite facility that I've ever shot at. It can host everybody. The cell phone service sucks. The Wi-Fi sucks. But besides for that, the bathrooms are cleaner than you'll get in your hotel. Everything's ran very well there. So I love shooting out there, but I also totally understand what you're saying. If every single big match I do this year is going to be at K&M, I'm going to be like, well, I got these 4 at K&M. Which 3 am I going to do? Because I don't need to go shoot there 4 times.
Yeah, I know. So it's tough. And like John Gurley, here's what about Pig River, guys. I've made the phone calls. I had to talk to Josh. Like, Josh, are you sure, bro? You can't do 20. Like, are you sure? Because obviously Josh runs an awesome match. Mm-hmm. He's like, dude, I could. And I'm like, well, then I want to put you out to add more stuff. He's like, they'd be shorter. So guys, just give us some time. At one point, these guys are like, oh man, these match directors charge too much. And we're like, oh no, we want these. Like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, we're all working together. I don't want to have that many matches at K&M. On a 3-year rotation, that's fine if the shooters like it. If other ones pop up, we'll do it. And I'm not opposed, even though I said it after New Mexico, I will never host a match offsite again. Period. I'm so wore out, right? But there's one that's pretty close to me. I might be able to work with those guys and kind of see what we can do, or vice versa, or the AG Cup. So, but that's where we're leading, guys. So stand by for an official announcement, and we'll do that. I got it, guys. Rut, all that stuff. We're working on all that stuff. It just takes some time. It's a big ship to steer.
I agree with you. It's a hard decision because K&M is such a nice facility.
Mm-hmm.
But I also enjoy traveling, which I didn't get to shoot last year just because of personal reasons and finances. But when I was shooting, I always picked one match that I'd never been to.
Yeah.
Partly because I wanted to go to a match I'd never been to, and partly because I wanted to see another state that I'd not been to. So,
right.
That's how I ended up with all the friends in Wisconsin, because I went up there not knowing anybody, so I have mixed feelings on it, because I do like the setup at K&M. It is really more comfortable, than a lot of places.
Yeah. And
especially now that we got the people movers.
Yeah, I know. Guys, that's the thing is people we're for the people. We'll listen. It's a big facility, and we're going to have some improvements that, we don't need to announce on the show. Us, we're always putting in. The shooters really benefit from all the training that we do because we put so much back into it for them. It's probably not fair to a lot of the other facilities because they're like, hey, dude, how come you can't do this? And, because because I'm the peer director, because I feel pressure to set the standard, because I like it personally. I want a nice place. I want to train hard, use it hard. And all my clients appreciate it. The precision rifle shooters really, really benefit from it. I mean, I think our new pavilion turned out awesome. I mean, really, really awesome. So that's super nice, whether it's raining or hot. So it's pretty good. Okay. All right, guys. What else?
Are there any lives?
There's a couple different suggestions in there for different facilities. I'm sure you'll look through the comments afterwards and see what they are. Tons more comments about moving the finale up for hunting.
Yeah, no, guys, don't focus on that. It's not going to be 2022. But like Ryan Hay just said, like, hey, MKM, awesome. Probably can't happen in November. But if we move the finale to September, then that opens up facilities like that. We're getting there, but that needs to be planned 18 months out. So that will be taken up as soon as we get the rules updated, which will probably take into January. So we're working on that, guys. We want to rotate it and get it. We need the facilities, and we need the local infrastructures to handle the banquets. I think it's very important to do a formal banquet where we could break bread together and celebrate each other's successes and recognize everyone who does that. I think that's a big part for our community. So it doesn't have to be what we did the past 2 years. We're basically outgrown country club banquet halls, weddings 200 and under. Like we busted those, so that'll be hard. So we'll do what we can to make it that first class event. But like Jules on it, we are on it, and it's just going to take a little bit of time. So we'll get it, guys. Just be patient with us. But I think the days of finding a brand new facility where no one has ever shot before are probably going to be. We're just too big now, unfortunately. I know a lot of guys like that, basically 5-6 years ago. So we'll work it, guys.
All right. I see you're putting some more comments in there. You have more lives?
So Ken and Missy volunteered to host either the finale or the AG Cup in late September in Wisconsin.
No, I'm sure Ken and Missy Wheeler are dead to me. Okay. Because they know why, but I love them to death. So they're good. So Jason Strutt, please discuss the issue of peerless matches and integral matches being hosted at the same range facility. So you guys want to hit that one up?
Sure.
All right. So I do know where this comes from, but I won't get into that. Match directors run integral rimfire matches, peerless rimfire matches, one-day regional matches all the time. So I don't know where they're getting at. And I know some people are like, some of their leadership has said, they're blackballing, because we can't affect what people do. They could affect who they do business with, and we could affect who we do business with. But yes, I mean, the peers in the past, it's a moot point now, but the peers in the past for 2-day matches, we would not, since we couldn't really find some common ground to work on, we would not, and the committee was pretty much on board to manage matches. So what happened this year would not happen, which obviously it did. So we can manage the match schedules. So we're like, hey, we're not going to flood the market. If we, when you're talking national 2-day matches, the competitive parity is a very important part of that. And the market got flooded. The shooters responded to what it is at this point. And so I think it's behind us, but integral matches and peerless matches have the same facility all the time. So go in their calendar, and you'll see that. So I don't 2-day matches. Yeah, we wouldn't accept matches that we're doing both, because we think we put that shooter at an unfair advantage, and it's hard to manage the match attendance, and therefore you have poor competitive parity. It's also unsustainable. If you look at the matches on their side, especially in a few of ours, where there was some overlap out west, they didn't do very good. And so now the shooters have lost those matches. Like they're not hosting, a lot of them are not hosting matches. So that's exactly why we've been focused on unity a lot. I think they're moving to a different direction with the hunter stuff. And so, we wish them the best. We'll focus on what we're doing and we'll move on. We won't dwell on the past, but I hope that answers, is that Jason? Mr. Strutt's question there. Okay.
So Brian Avora asked kind of the same question. He said, what if the AG Cup rotated regions each year? And what if we did the AG Cup in the region of the current winner?
I like it. That's an awesome concept.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
That is, I like that.
Yeah. And guys just don't understand. I don't want to get into the financial stuff, but you guys know, because you're there. It is the match director of the AG Cup, to make it sustainable for the shooters in the sport, needs to be very giving, right? So there's not a lot of places that will do that. And so Tom and I worked incredibly hard, and Tom it has such vision for what he brought, and it is loved, and all the shooters love to watch it. The shooters that competed, they loved it this year. So it's really evolved the past 3 years, but we're really, the way we structured the payouts for the series, the way we structured the buy-in at 750 that goes back to the shooters, and then Tom bringing the sponsors in. The only thing we haven't found sustainable from a cost perspective is the match. So, we did that for Tom, working together, because we think it's good for the sport. So to move it around in all those regions would be awesome. And these guys, and I love them because they're all my friends, but if you screw that match up, if you screw up one little stage, it is going to be a rough weekend. And so there's a lot of pressure on that match director, and there's not a lot of return for him, but there's a lot of return for the sport. And the good thing is we have a lot of people. I mean, I know Greg and Jen, you guys came down a long way, like you always do. Brandon Haywood, Tom obviously sacrifices a ton for it. And so, all the ROs that came down, I mean, just powerful stuff. It was awesome, Jen. I don't know if you guys talked about it last night. Do you know how well behaved the line was, and how much good sports those top guys were this weekend? I saw a lot of good stuff, and it really made me feel good about those guys setting an example for all the shooters. Now, a lot of them didn't see it, but
we did mention it last night that they really just were. I mean, everybody behaved so nicely. Everybody was encouraging of each other. Now, there was no win call sharing or any of that, but people were like, "Yeah, man, keep it up," to each other. It was very good to see. Yeah,
and that's the thing. I think Chad and Francis and Greg Bell and some of the other guys, Tate, all these guys, and I'm forgetting some names. And some guys are kind of like me. They're not, they're a little edgy when they're shooting, and that's fine. But when you have guys like that influence, that are so dynamic with personality and genuine and pure and really good sports, though they're competitors too. I think guys like that are influencing our fire line, especially at the top level. And so my hat's off to those guys, because I think a lot of people, myself included, are taking the cue how those guys handle themselves in the highest pressure. And my hat's off to them. And they're leading the sport, and they're doing it. They're setting an example. So I appreciate those guys.
So Joshua asked, no, never mind, wrong one. It moved. Tony asked if the PRS has ever considered doing a longer range style match, not like King of 2 Miles, but longer ranges like 900 minimum to 2,000 yards, where people can shoot magnum calibers.
Yeah, no, we have not. I think that our guys, we focus on the series, right? The regional directors, the match directors focus on their matches, and they all have different flares and cultures to them. And so, to make a series viable, that would be hard. I mean, in the Southeast, in the East Coast, many places across the country, to get that kind of terrain you're investing a significant amount of capital to get it. So it's very, very difficult to do that. So it has not come up in our docket of future things to consider. Right now, we're with Rimfire after its first year and all the things that we have doing well. We really want to focus on what we're doing and do it very, very well.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of guys going back and forth in the comments real quick about the region or the Rimfire Finale. I think they missed our conversation on it. But the super short story is it is going to start rotating, but right now Texas is a sustainable thing for next year while they work on finding another facility that could host that caliber of a Rimfire match elsewhere.
Yeah, I guys, big picture, I probably wasn't clear enough, so I apologize. We are taking steps leading forward should the committee vote to move the finale in before hunting season, right? We've done polls in the past, they've been 50-50. I think now is the time to take it to another vote. That requires prior planning of the rotations, and then there's other factors as far as how well Texas does, which is phenomenal. It's centrally located, so it's a safe bet. When that triggers, we need to move all 3 finales, all 9, actually 18 regional finales across, start the series different so we can reset within the website and the membership. There's a lot more to it that people take for granted. That takes an enormous amount of planning. And there's 40 match directors that might have to shuffle their schedules, which is always really hard to do. I mean, even now, guys, like I'll announce it, like, in Utah, we're putting up another match. Alfred Munitions is putting up another match in Utah with Paul Dallin as a match director, and it's going to be the first week in September. Well, that's when we're going to do the finale. So that match is going to have to move. And so there's all these, not this year, but next year. So there's all these factors. And so you're going to see a little bit of desynchronization this year, right? And then mid-year or early in the spring, we should have some sort of announcement for the next year. And then we'll begin to kind of get back into those rotations. So I hope that clears everything else. And yes, we will get the Rimfire Finale at K&M at some point, guys. Jared Weil will be your match director there. Okay.
So Prentice has a question.
Prentice doesn't count.
He wants me to ask you about the M word. So I had that on the list to go ahead and talk about at some point, because there's been some buzz about Mulligans.
Oh, that's the M word.
How did you not know that? And whether or not they're legal in PRS. And it's not in the rule book, because y'all left it up to match director's discretion, but I'm going to let you speak on that.
Yeah. So this is a loaded, and I knew we were going to address this summer because I got a few emails on, I think 2 or 3 at the most, but it's a loaded thing because people are dug in. So when I say it's loaded, it's more loaded because of the human dynamic. People feel a certain way when they don't have a historical context or an understanding of the rules. They're going to see it their way, or they're going to capture a rule that was never intended by the committee to capture. So here is the skinny, guys. And I know this might be upsetting. I know people are stepping out on the limb and hanging their necks out saying it's cheating. Guys, it's not cheating. Since the inception of PRS in 2012, there have been mulligans. There have absolutely been mulligans. When I took over, because me personally as a shooter, I don't particularly care for them. As a PRS director, I don't have a say unless there's a tie in the committee. I'll let the committee hash that out. But I will bring it to the committee and say, hey, committee, we need to codify in our rules one way or the other. Either it is allowed under these circumstances or it's not allowed, period. There's going to be a difference of opinion. This is probably, in my 3 years, probably the toughest thing the committee's going to come up with. And I'm trying to prep them on an individual basis. So these people that try to tie it to reshoot, they are bone wrong. It has nothing to do with reshoots. Reshoots don't cover mulligans. We left it like many other things in the rules. We have to understand we are an outlaw sport, right? And we want rules, and we are growing, and these are some growing pains. Guys in certain parts of the country don't like it. In other parts of the country, it is within their culture and absolutely normal, and they are taken back by this response. And I think people that are dug in on it and trying to pit one versus other and calling people cheaters or insinuating that some of the match directors or shooters are doing something wrong, don't have the historical perspective, aren't given the respect that's necessary. And so to me, it's like it's a very simple thing. Like, hey, I know you guys don't like it, but that's very normal. So I'm hoping that the committee compromises. I'm pretty sure that in regional finales and 2-day matches, I was in Idaho, they gave it to everyone. As fair as fair. So I could see the committee voting for those ones not to have it. I could see the committee voting for let the match, leave it, let it lie, just codify it. It's really up to the committee. So if the shooters don't like it, this is what I recommend. Don't email me. Don't email me because I don't have a vote All I do is just shape it to the committee. And I don't have a vote because we're regionally led and the committee has the poll. You elect your committee members. You elect them by attending their matches. They are tied to you because they want you to attend their matches. So call all the matches that you want to frequent, that you do frequent, or that you don't frequent, and send them a note. Here's the issue, all right? I don't think mulligans should be allowed. Discuss it, and then give them a recommendation. Like, hey, I think you should vote against it. The most powerful thing you can tell a match director is, hey, if you do mulligans, I'm not coming to your match. Or if you don't do this, because match directors will listen, right? More powerful than that is, is finding our culture of, and we don't want to change it in different regions. Let the shooters do what they want. They respond to the match directors in different ways. Is people need to be okay and respectful. But hey, I disagree with you, but I understand that's the process. The process is work. Look at our sport. We have 800 matches now, close to 800 matches. I mean, it's just insane. So we're doing the right thing, guys. This is the growing pains. And I'll leave the guys with this too. Just because you found out about it this year for whatever reason, doesn't make it cheating. Doesn't make it illegal or outside the rules. It has been inside the rules. We just didn't address it in the rules, like many other things, because that is what we call match director discretion. Because we want to be united and we want to let match directors run the different matches within their flavor. That's the powerfulness of our sport for sure.
Here's how I think about it. So everybody wants matches to be equal, but like we got to be careful what you wish for, right? Because if I wanted to shoot the same match everywhere I went, I would shoot Steel Challenge, right? Steel Challenge is the same match everywhere you go. It is the same stages. Right. And that's good for people that want to shoot that. I don't want to shoot that. I want to be different. I want this one to be a square range and this one to be a field of fire, a true field match. I want some to have different wins. I want some to have no wins so that I can feel good about myself. So I want there to be some variety, right? And there's always going to be variety, and the matches are going to have some variety, and that's why it's there. So you can go out. So you're never going to have matches be exactly even and the same, which is why y'all do percentages, right? Percentage of the winner. So as long as everyone at that match had the same opportunity, then I don't see why it matters if one match has mulligans and one does not, because one match is going to have the use of tripods and another is going to say, nope, no tripods. So those are the type of things that match directors can decide to do. And that's what makes it interesting, is they're all different. So I don't think it's an issue to have, as long as it's the same for everyone at the match, right? It's fair. You don't want to have where, okay, well, we'll give mulligans to the ladies. Okay, well, we don't want that. We want to be equal, right? We don't want it to be that way. So I think that everybody gets all upset about, well, they got to reshoot and I didn't, but you were at a different match. Your match might have been easier. Your match might have been harder. It's just different. And so I don't know why there's
Jen, you got a lot of good points, and the other side has a lot of good points. And I think this is why it's hard, right? Because I think these guys need to understand reasonable people are going to have to disagree here. So how are we going to do it? There's a comment here. I'm not going to say the name, but it says a mulligan is a reshoot and clearly addressed in the purist rules. And also I have to say that, gentlemen, is sir, you need to talk to the committee. You don't have a historical perspective. I was the director when it came up 3 years ago, and we purposely did not put it in to allow the match directors the ability to do that. The reshoot rule is never intended from the committee for the past 10 years, and it's been going on for 10 years. Why it comes up now. So when people say, when they have that type of comments and they say it in that manner, you imply that other people are doing something wrong. That is not how we influence change in a respectful dialogue tone. It's not good for our sport. Look, you are absolutely entitled to disagree. Absolutely, we want feedback and we absolutely want to be challenged. We have to work how we can communicate with each other. The best way for someone, if they dislike it, is to do, which they already have. It was already on the docket 2 months ago, written down in our notes for the committee to take up in the year. And the only reason we didn't take it up mid-year is because we've been doing it for 10 years, and stability and consistency is key. Just because a few people sit around a range and get fired up about it and didn't, because they didn't know about it, because it's not within that region's culture, doesn't mean anyone's doing anything wrong. So I'll tell you right here as the director, no one's doing anything wrong, right? What we do need is the fix. Like, what outcome do we want, right? Certain shooters like it, or match directors like it. Certain shooters or match directors don't like it. Fine. As the director, what I'm going to do is committee, you guys need to figure it out. You guys are all the 40 match directors in our 2-day national series and the regional directors. So the regional directors should go to their regions and talk to their match director because they elected him, or the regional director because they elected him. And let's make some sausage behind closed doors and let's put out a standard, either for it, against it. And then guess what? In a couple weeks, it's handled. But in the process does not need to go on to, hey, it's against the rules. Guys, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. I manage the committee. We take notes. That's why this year we started publishing minutes so guys can see it if they care. I think there was a huge improvement and a good recommendation by one of the shooters, and we took it. So, guys, be patient. If you want to influence change, be respectful. Don't call people cheaters or this and that. It's within the rules. It's within the intent of the rules. It's not covered. Never was intended to be covered by reshoot. And talk to the committee. They're all on the PRS website. All their contact information is there. Tell them what you feel and shape their vote. We kind of mirror a system of our elected government for good and for bad, but it might not be perfect, but it sure works because our country is pretty awesome. So let's keep our sport awesome and exercise that system.
There's a couple of questions here that kind of tie together. So somebody asked, are there any plans for a mentorship program for those that, I lost it, but I think it was for those that want to become match directors?
Yeah, and
someone else,
Go ahead.
And someone else commented and said, I think it's called being an RO, which is helpful to get that experience as an RO. And then, so it's going to be like a threefold question, right? And then I had someone that messaged me asking, would PRS ever entertain the idea of making ROing a match a requirement to shoot the finale? So like, you're a really good shooter, but if you want to shoot the finale, you have to get back to the sport and RO at least one match. So those are the things: mentorship for match directors. And I guess the second wasn't a question, but the third is then about
I'm sorry. I was trying to read the comments. I was trying to listen to you, Jen. I don't think that's above my ceiling. Okay. Do we have a mentorship? Program for match directors? 1 day, 2 days? Was there any kind of fidelity in that?
No, I think he's just looking to start matches. And Paul Smith and Prentice have both already reached out to him and said, hey, hit me up. And both of those guys know a heck of a lot about running matches.
So we don't have anything formal for match directors. We let the regional directors kind of help them out. Guys have land. Here's a good example. Spencer Munn in Washington started doing some stuff. The guy's going to run a 2-day match for us in Washington. We announced it. We're going to re-announce the schedule here and kind of get that out. He's doing his own up there with the regional directors and doing good things. So we don't, but when guys come on, especially in a crowded area where the numbers are pretty solid, hey man, go run a match. And oftentimes we make them run 1 or 2 matches without PRS sanction, knowing what pressure, and give them time to prove their concepts. But we don't have a formal, we're just not that big guys to do that. But even though we don't have a formal one, it does not mean that myself. Sean Johnson from Washington came down. A lot of guys have come down to my place and kind of, Ken Wheeler was there. Hey, this is a community, so we don't need anything formal. Ken's take a picture of the mover, this and that. How'd you upgrade your mover system? What'd you do here? What'd you do here? So it's not formal, but guys, we're all a team. And yeah, maybe we compete again for shooters against each other, and that's why we deconflict the schedules. But it's a healthy competition that makes us all better, and that rising tide raises all boats. That happens at the smallest level. If you want to be a club and you want to be a match director, man, you just send us a note and you're going to get my attention. I'm going to hook you up with your regional director rapidly and get you on the docket, get you on the path. It might not be immediately, but it could happen very rapidly within a few months. And we're going to get you on the calendar. I mean, Rimfire, a lot of those guys work together so well, and they and they're spreading like wildfire. So it's not formal, but we work together as a community to get that. And I don't know if we have the capacity right now to do that. So formally. What was the other question, Jen?
About requiring people to RO one match to shoot the finale.
So I believe, and I could be wrong, we have to talk to some of the graybeards, but I believe we had that at one point. And that came up again when we instituted RO option 1, 2, and 3. And it was like, hey guys, I don't want to, we're going to grow. I see and we told you the first time I came on when I was a director, hey, we're going to grow. This is going to get fixed. Watch this. 3 years later, look where we're at. So I think there's a lot of people in the committee, and it's going to take time. It's going to take processes. But if you look at RO option 2 and RO option 3, they're exercised a lot. We're just not going to get the volunteers anymore. I know some people try, hey, we're going to have this RO. Some of them have been successful. Most of them have kind of never really materialized. ROs are taking their time. They want to be part of the event. They are not going to be able to travel to go to a 1-day or 2-day RO at this point, given our size. Other shooting sports have done that and had a lot of success with it. And so my point is what the committee did with those different RO options was like, hey guys, my question was always, how do we do the best job? Who are the best spotters and have the most experience to do it right? And the answer was the shooters on the line. Well, guys, every match I go to, there's idle shooters behind us. Every other action sport requires some sort of self-ROing. And I know they have their challenges with that too. Resetting targets is always the same guys in pistol. Jen, you shot pistol, right? So you've seen it, right? And so we've gotten better. We did it at the finale this year. New Mexico was hard. We had a bunch of great volunteers. We just didn't have the numbers. It's a super remote location, beautiful. And that's the price that you're going to pay. The Trinity Gunsmithing School brought a bunch of their guys down. And so, we need to be acceptable, and we need to change our culture to how we started, to make it a more sustainable model, which is always the best model. And we need to have our shooters shoot. And that might require, especially when you look at our option 2, having one guy that's ruling procedurally, safety, keeping score, keeping people's honest. And we need to have the sportsmanship on the line. If I'm shooting and I'm buddies with Francis and Chad and I think they're doing a bad job, well, then I'm going to have someone else, hey man, give me one more guy on glass, and that has to be acceptable. And I think we're getting very, very close. I'm very happy how those options work, and I think that's the future. But I'm not opposed to requiring that. We've done it in the past. I don't recall, it was before my leadership, how that fell aside. But I do think we need to reinforce the help that we already have there, because I think we're going to get a better called match. I firmly believe a lot of the 1-day matches using RO option 3 are called better than some of the 2-day national matches, unfortunately. And so having that information in front of us should be pretty telling of what we need to do as far as using the idle hands behind the firing line. So I think that's the future.
I'm just reading somebody wanted to know who all was on the committee. Okay,
on the Centerfire committee, the Centerfire committee is every single 4-day, every single, I'm sitting here on my training schedule for training, but every single 2-day match director. We had Paul down the day from Utah, and every single regional director. And so those are everyone on the committee, and all their information is, you could go to their matches and contact them.
So for this, just because there's still a lot of chatter about the Mulligans and people feel very strongly on one way or the other. So if you have input, I think Shannon's point is that it's not his decision, it's the committee. So reach out to those committee members and state your case with them, and they'll be addressing that at some point this year.
Yeah, guys, I'll tell you, shooters. You guys got to be careful what you wish for there. Some of the match directors. I mean, there's a lot of different angles here. That's why it's so a little emotional. Some of the match directors use it to pay their ROs. Some of the match directors use it to, fund the match. Some of the match directors use it to, give to charity. There's a lot of different reasons. And so if the committee votes to do away with that, then the match directors are going to look at their processes and they're going to make their own decisions. The purist doesn't get involved in that. But you guys need to look at the bigger picture. Not everyone needs to look at, okay, why is this happening? I might disagree with it, but there's always a reason someone does something. We need to give people the respect to, hey, why do they do that? Well, maybe they just like it. Maybe it has a different cause. Maybe the shooters want it, and the committee will hash it out. I think it'll take some time. I think the committee's professional enough to see the big picture and find the right answer, and it might be a compromise. I hope the shooters would respect. And there's options for them. Like, hey, we're gonna let the regions decide. I'll tell you what I don't want to see is I don't want to see our series fracture because one way or the other. I really hope the committee compromises if it's split up 50-50 and they find some sort of working solution. They're professional people. They're not clouded by the emotional stuff on Facebook and social media. They get past that on professionalism. And so guys, just give them some time. Let them do their work. The season ended 2 days ago. Okay.
So we can count on a ruling from the committee before the first match of 2022 that says yes, they are allowed, no, they're not allowed, up to match director's discretion, but something in the rules is going to say something about Mulligans.
So the first match of 2022 already started. MPA crushed it with 111 people. So, but yes, and that is just kind of getting desynced and getting filled as 2 matches in there. But and Brandon and Phil did an awesome job down there in Georgia. But it will be codified one way or the other. Whatever the committee decides, it will be in the rules. So these people don't need to be emotional about it's a reshoot, it's this, it's cheating. That guys, that's just that does anyone no good. You just that's just not helpful.
Yep. So last thing on the M word, like Shannon said, your match directors are voting on that. Reach out to them, write them a note, and let them get to deciding. Brian asked a question, and I already know the answer to it. Would it be possible to have the following weekend after AG Cup for up and coming shooters to try out some or all of the Course of Fire so we can see what we're striving towards?
Well, I actually already reset the range because I got members and I wanted to get it back to its configuration. And after I did it, I was like, okay, I got to design another Course of Fire. And I look at our weather and there's rain coming. So I'm like, hey, we're going to stay up front where there's more we're going to cover. I'm like, hey, and then people started texting me, hey, man, can we do the AG Cup Course of Fire? And I'm like, guys, you sure you want that? And I'm like, just for fun, I put it, usually I do it on K-Net, but I did it in a Pura Southeast region. I think I did it this morning. And I was expecting that people would have the courtesy to be like, I'm not shooting in that match, so I'm not going to vote. So everyone was like, yeah, do it. And, and I know a lot of match directors take pride in their matches being overly hard. And that's typically not a recipe for success long-term, especially for a one-day. And it's not a bad concept. Or whoever hosts the AG Cup, if they want to come to, if you want to come to a one-day match this weekend and you want to take a trip to Tennessee, you are going to get you're going to get 1 or 2 stages that are exactly the same. The rest I'm going to increase target sizes and modify 1 stage by distance. And so you're going to get that feel. And while I'm at the match, I'll tell them what the difference is. And so they can understand it. I think the shooters would kind of appreciate that a little bit. But I also have to understand, I got a lot of new shooters, like every one-day match does. So, that's not how you welcome a new shooter, is let them do what Chad Heckler did, and even those guys shot 85% or so. So it'll be balanced. It'll be a lot of fun, and they will definitely get a taste of what the AG Cup is like. But yeah, that's something to look at. That's cool.
You got to do it like the Masters, where the people that work the Masters then get to play it. They get to play that course.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh, really?
But it's only for the people that work it. So if you work the match, then you get to shoot it. See, that'd be a way to get help.
Oh, there we go. So if you RO the match, you get to shoot it like that Monday or something.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of questions about a 2-day Rimfire series and point system and everything like that. Have you guys thought about going into any 2-day Rimfire stuff?
Yeah, a couple. And so it's on the back of my mind, but at this point, I don't think it's viable. The Rimfire is why we structured our club so we could keep, Rimfire. If you look at the numbers, if you look at the analytics, it is very local and at best regional. Yes, there's enough obviously to have a Centerfire Finale. And I actually talked to Adam, who did a great job with it today. Like, hey man, let's be open to see what they want as far as what that finale looks like. Do we want it winner takes all? Do we want to change the scoring system? Because it is different from Centerfire. And I think once he's done picking off some of the low hanging fruit for the rules for the Rimfire committee, I think he'll bring that up. People are not going to travel for the 2 days. There might be a few matches out there that could be viable, but for a series, I don't quite think we're there yet. And what the shooters are telling us on Rimfire, I just don't think that would. I think we'd be wasting some organizational energy, and they would be viable. So until we can see some signs that it's viable, that's why we're being super cautious and slow with Rimfire. Until we see that those analytics, we'll see. So I mean, as it is, the Rimfire, we have 110, 120, whatever it was, shooters. It was a 2-day. We opened it up to some other people once everyone that was qualified to get in. So I don't think we're close to that, but we're definitely open to some concepts and keeping an eye on what the sport's doing.
What other lives, Greg?
There's 218. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I can't keep up, but I see this note, Greg. Yeah, do you guys want to talk into that, Jen?
We can.
Yeah. So guys, like, this is a super. It's not a bad thing about our sport. It's a bad thing about people, certain people, and those people. I'm pretty confident saying, like, sometimes you get a bad apple, or sometimes you get cancer. You got to cut them out. And honestly, most of these people aren't even in our sport. They're just people that are different than most. A shooter made a mistake it was a bad mistake. And he, as one of the co-match directors and obviously my facility, as soon as we found out about it, he made a mistake. Was it, Jenna, was it on Saturday or was it on Friday? I think it was on Friday.
But y'all didn't know about it until Saturday because the service is so bad.
Yeah. So the event happened on Saturday. So let's break it down. So the event happened on Saturday. If any other match I've ever been to, there were more safety officers, range officers, and match directors. There was probably more of them than there were shooters. Yet it was still missed. It probably, even though the picture lasts forever, it probably, from my understanding, was a very short thing. Nonetheless, the shooter made a established, very known and should be known safety violation. And there's no justifying it. I know people want to go down rabbit holes. Well, if you can still carry, well, your rifle's in your truck. Well, he had his chamber flag in. Guys, I don't even get down into that because regional people could disagree. If some of the guys saw how my military guys train, they would freak out. And then the next day I wear a lot of different hats. But in our community, there's just no mistake for it. There's no justifying it. There's really no defense. So we warned them, and we warned them in accordance with the rules. I think it would have been different if their rifle had a magazine in, or was loaded, or didn't have a chamber flag in, given the severity. And so I know we've been getting a few notes and say, hey guys, send us some notes, and people want to be like, hey, we need to have a no tolerance rule for flagging, which I want to talk about right after this. And so, the photo got out there and we warned him, so the process has happened fine. The shooter was remorseful about it and realized he was a knucklehead, and he took some lumps. Sad, but he took some lumps because he didn't need it to correct some behavior. I'm sure he'll learn from it. And in a weird way, I think a lot of shooters will learn from it. So that maybe there's some good from it. The photographer felt terrible. The photographer's done phenomenal things for the sports, our sponsors, our shooters, and a lot of the match directors that are out there. He has access to the PRS pages. And I think he felt really, really bad that it got out, because I know him and the shooter are friends. And he tried to correct it. I saw it. I'm like, hey, sir, you're actually going to do whatever you want on your social media pages, but be very cautious speaking for the purists. That's going to be a bad look. Some guys wanted to say that was, threatening or this, that, whatever. And he probably could use a better tone. But that's, he's speaking for himself, and that's for him to deal with other people. It's definitely not the PRS, though it definitely involved the PRS. So that got a little sideways, but the right things happened, and it got emotional, and he got on some people. I've talked to actually both parties. They're due a phone call. I think they're going to work it out because I know all those people. They're good people. The photographer is a good person. I know the company that some of the individuals work for, and I talked to their leader, and they're not happy. So this is why these things happen when people do malicious things. If a photographer made a mistake, the shooter made a stupid mistake, and he should have known better. And that's it, guys. Let them handle it. You know what I'm saying? This culture of every time someone makes a mistake, we need to tar and feather them, regardless of the circumstances, is not what the PRS is going to be about. I mean, if we start doing that, what is everyone that has a negligent discharge? Do we put their face in the paper like they just robbed a bank? I mean, guys, where are we going with this? Yes, take it as a teachable moment, no doubt. Make no excuses for it, absolutely. Should we get better? Absolutely. Should we review our rules? Absolutely, we did. But we need to handle ourselves a lot better. And if people outside our community want to get into it, then we need to make sure these mistakes don't happen, because that's a really bad look, and it's unfortunate. But let's look at our rules. We've had some suggestions. People want to, hey, I think there should be a no tolerance rule for flagging. And I re-looked at our rules, and I think our rules are very, very sound. This was happened appropriately. And I just want you to walk what I'm about to tell you, this situation kind of backwards. If we have a no tolerance rule for flagging, and someone puts their rifle down on a prescribed line, and someone walks in front of it, even though it's open, it's safe, and adds a chamber flag into it, they should not do that, obviously. But they do. Are they going home? If a shooter gets up the line and is moving out of the way as an RO, and another RO, someone walks in front of them and barely catches a slight angle, the way our social media is, all of a sudden there's going to be more favorites. And because that guy didn't get it, but the other guy did. Our rules are sound, guys. We all need to double down. Let's take the shooter's example of the AG Cup. And the shooter failed. Anyone around him that may or may not saw it failed, because we're all safety officers. Those are the rules. The match director, me being one of them, failed. Of course, I wasn't there, but we still own it, right? The photographer failed. He just didn't realize it. But that's also why we have so many steps in redundancy. The RO clears you off the line. You drop your magazine. You watch your muzzle. You put your chamber flag in. Your bolt is open and back. There's 5 redundancies right there that is covered. So I think our rules are sound. We don't need to overreact it. The committee will look at it. I think they're going to have the same sentiments I do. But I did get a very well-written email by somebody, I won't say his name, that had concerns. And that's why we'd like to do the rules at the end of the year, when there's no emotion and we're a little removed from some of the potential holes that we have. Right now, there's still a little bit of emotion that we need to, guys need to take a deep breath, look at it, look at what the pitfalls may be, even because sometimes no good deed goes unpunished. And sometimes the rule just got broken, and because it blew up on the internet doesn't mean we need to throw out the baby with the bathwater and do something draconian. So we'll let the committee figure that out as well.
Sounds like
Go ahead.
I was about to say, we have 2 separate questions about the Mill Leo category that I wanted to ask. Tyler asks, is there a plan to change the way mill scores are tracked? I shoot production class as well as mill category. My scores do not count towards the final mill scores. Can we create a separate scoring tier for category shooters? And then Dick wants to know if we can fix National Guard, reservists, and part-time mill Leo for qualifying. They're still volunteering their service for our country.
Oh boy. Okay. One at a time, Greg. Too much, man. I'm trying to read this stuff like you, man. So, okay. The first one was mill category. Okay, so he's asking to basically change mill category to a division. Where does that lead, guys? So we have just a handful of military guys that participate and understand. For people that don't know, I just retired from 20 years a few years ago, so I wore both sides of the hat. No, that is not a division, because once you have a division, then you'd have to open it up. What if that mill guy is shooting gas gun this head or whatever? So, and it's not big enough. So that is in line with other shooting sports. The mill category is going to remain a category, not a division. So there's no plans or even just.
There goes some of that good Jackson, Tennessee internet.
Well, they see froze with evenly closed eyes there.
Yeah, how does he get a frozen on like a normal face? And every time it freezes on me, I'm like,
Tactical. Unless.
oh.
Oh. Awkward silence. Awkward silence.
I'm like, waiting. Can you hear me now?
I'm looking here at the questions to see if there's anything that we can. Oh.
You are frozen.
Wait. I think you're back.
You there?
Can you hear us?
All right. Sorry. Okay. So did you get all my mail answer?
I'm trying to think of what point it paused. It paused that. It was right when your face looked like this.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. I appreciate that. Okay, so the other one was military. So guys, I think again, I think I might get outvoted on this by the committee, because I think we made a mistake. This is just, me as a shooter and as a match director. I think we made a mistake opening it up to reserve shooting teams. When the mill division was opened up, it was designed for active duty mill and law enforcement, and it kind of got away from that. It is a super slippery slope, and I'm not taking away from any of our guardsmen or resolve, but there is a difference. These are my personal thoughts. There is a difference to an E4 and E5 on a sniper team, active duty, with all the requirements he has and lack of funds and training and time, between a guy that has a civilian job that might be doing the same, or acting as a signal guy, which God bless him, we need him because we need to talk. So that's my big difference with it. And then if you open it up to reservists, and gosh, those reservists, those National Guard guys were side by side with me when we're bleeding on the battlefield. So I'm not taking anything away from them. I think it leads to a slippery slope where the next evolution of that rule is, well, what about the part-time law enforcement guys that only gets called up on SWAT teams? Well, yeah, but everyone and their brother knows the sheriff, and then the sheriff can give badges away and deputize people, and there's really no requirements whatsoever. And then the match directors are going to have to manage and verify that. Then that's our next cheating and unethical scandal. So I think we need to go all the way back and circle back to what's the intent of the mill category, and that is to reward and highlight our active duty and active military guys that have a little bit more requirements. Are we unstable? That's what my internet says, Greg. You got me?
I can still hear you.
Yep, still got you.
Okay, so yeah, it's a hard one, because then people are gonna be like, well, Shannon, what about the AMU teams? Yeah, man, it's a hard one, guys. We want to recognize those guys too, and remember, some of the AMU guys are going in and out of AMU and doing some good work in regiment and some other things. So it's hard. I think last time I checked in the committee, because I did bring that up to them today, they were voting towards expanding it, but then the discussion kind of got picked up. So it is being considered. Again, lobby your match directors to what you think is appropriate. But I will caution you this, guys. We have to things are going so well. We cannot constantly change the rules just to change the rules. This change has more, the risk always has to be with reward, and consistency has a lot of value. So I hope the committee I think stability is key here. But if they change it, and then guys are like I told them, guys that disagree with it, but hey, I will back you 100%. And they vote freely because obviously they told me to pound sand. So because right now I'm getting outvoted even though I don't vote. But I often go to the committee for guys that care. Hey guys, here's the issue. We got this email. Hey guys, here's the details. Here's our old rule. And then I submit a new rule with that verbiage, that the question that you ask. And then I post it yes or no. And if they say no, they have to provide a comment to improve it. If we get a bunch of no's and don't have a lot of yeses, then I redraft the rule form until we just make sauces until everyone's happy and the discussion lasts. So sometimes it's a long time, guys. 40 people that we want to contribute. Some people vote, many people participate. So in this case, I'll go the first post and I'll give the background. Hey guys, this is how the sport's been. This is what I feel. This is why I feel it. And then roger that. And then every other match director does the same thing and they vote on it. So I've yet to break a tie if anyone cares. Honestly, most of our votes have been 90, 95 plus, almost unanimous on everything we've done because we keep redrafting the rule until everyone's kind of happy with it. So I don't think the Mulligan one is going to be that way though, if that helps. So, okay. What else, guys?
So we've talked a lot about what the PRS has planned for 2022, but I think I have a new plan for the shooter's mindset. I think we're going to start coming up with a contest on every show called the comment of the show.
What do you got? You got a good one?
So I got a good one. And if we ever get like prizes or like show sponsors or something, like we'll like send you a gift or something. But right now you're just going to get a shout out. So the comment of the show is right around the time that you froze, kind of like this. Tate Streeter said, "Can he get a mulligan?"
He said, he get a mulligan for what?
For you to redo whatever you said while we couldn't hear you.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, guys. When people get up there and really, I know where this mulligan's come from. It's coming from, one area, a very small area and part of the country. So it means there's something bad in that water. And it's probably, I hope it's not a lapse of leadership and no one kind of seeing through it. People need to understand, like, hey, I disagree with this, but I have enough respect for myself and others to understand, like, oh, really? Like, they've been doing it for 10 years. Okay, it was purposely not dressed in the rules. Okay, well, I understand it now. So I'll step off the ledge, but I do think we should standardize it and change it. How do I do that? That's how you fix problems. That's how you really care. That's how you influence. That's leadership. That is getting things done. Sitting there and saying Mulligans are only allowed in the West. I'm sorry, man. That's dishonest. That's bad for the sport. I mean, you guys see it, Jen. It's right there in the comments. That's not true. If I want to do a mulligan this weekend at K&M, I could absolutely do it, and that has been precedence. That's how the PRS has been since inception. So, we're still kind of battling that. That's why I come on this show is important. If they could hear it, they could disagree with it. Awesome. If you don't like it, guys, guess what? You all know a match director. Like, tell them, figure it out. That's fine. And I don't think Mulligans should be causing this much of a ruckus. So, but I guess the season's over. So let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah. So Brian asked what would it take to have the AG Cup and other big matches televised, blah, 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 blah. So it would take better cell phone service. If you look, we tried, last year in 2020, we were able to live stream a whole lot of the events here on the Shooter's Mindset page. Out there in Finger, Tennessee, they're not quite as nice with their cell phone service yet, but we're working through. I know Shannon's working hard to get some stuff done out there so that we can hopefully get better coverage. Alternatively, if anybody out there wants to donate one of those someone made the suggestion yesterday that we should get one of those fancy TV trucks with a big satellite dish on the top of it. So if anybody has one of those sitting in their backyard they'd like to donate to the Shooter's Mindset, we would be happy to stream everything as live as we can. Also, Gap Grind tonight is playing on the Outdoor Channel on Shooting USA. The Shooting USA team was also out there with us filming the AG Cup yesterday as well. So that'll come out sometime early next year.
Yeah.
We do. They do have it on TV with John Scouten, and we do the live version on Facebook. In order to get it live on television, we would have to really get the support of a lot of non-endemic sponsors, and so that it would be worth a network's time to take it on. You know what I mean? They would need to have the sponsorships, commercials to pay for that airtime and that crew to come out. So, I mean, that would be great. I think it'd be wonderful. It's a huge reach. So,
Yeah. You guys understand 10 years ago, the Purists got started. Before that, there was a handful of matches across the country. Look where we're at today. So some of this infighting and emotion and people just being people, my goodness, man, like we'll take those lumps if that's what growth looks like. We don't like it, but maybe definitely want to discourage their shooters. But this is unfortunately what growth looks like when you get this big, and we'll be able to get there. Maybe in 5 years or 10 years, we'll look back and Jen and I and Greg will be like, dude, you remember we were like wishing we could get this televised? So, I don't know if it makes the best TV, but god dang, they got cornhole on there. You know what I'm saying? They got golf on TV. So why not pursue opportunities? So we'll work it. We'll work it.
We have a couple of questions about divisions. So Corey K actually posted a question earlier today, wanting to know, what is the plan to grow the current divisions? Some match directors currently do not offer trophies or even consider certain divisions real. For those of us that enjoy the different challenges like TAC production or gas gun, is there a policy to promote divisions as is done with categories like Mill Leo, Lady, Senior?
So if there's a 2-day match that doesn't do all the classes, categories, and division trophy, then that's an email that I need to get right away. That's where you should, and CC the match director or CC the regional director. But that was put out a year prior. That gave all the match directors a year to plan for it, raise prices, do whatever they needed to do it, fundraise. And then it was supposed to be this year. So if that's not happening, guys, that's a failure on the match director part. And oftentimes, let's assume they're trying to do the right thing and they're busy or they're setting their systems with their trophy guy. They probably need to be reminded. But if it happens, be respectful. Let me know and I'll remind the match director and allow him to fix that his following match. Now that's in relation to 2-day matches. So if it's not happening, let me know. That's one way how we promote those divisions. Are we going to all of a sudden grow production? I'm very happy with production. I mean, guys, let's face it, we're an open sport, right? And that's what the shooters want. So we don't need to get involved in forcing something that's not going to, lack of doing it. So I'm sorry, I'm distracted. So not a poor lack of leadership, a poor lack of communication from the top leadership. So, sir, I'm just going to, let you know, you shooters out there in that region, like you guys are the only problems with it. Everyone else, they might not like it, but they're grown up and know to understand that it's been happening for 10 years, longer than the matches that you've been running out there have been happening. So, we're just going to have to see different on this. You guys can keep repeating the same thing over and over. It is so common. It takes no communication and that's why everyone's reacting the way they're reacting, because it is very accepted. It's within their culture. So I don't know what I need to tell you. I mean, you could maybe call some people outside your region that do it. I understand you don't like it, but that is not lack of communication. It's not in the rules. Match directors every day do things not in the rules because we want to keep the outlaw series and the outlawed nature of our series. So you can keep popping off, man, but at the end of the day, you're not being productive and you're not helping your cause, and you're just alienating more and more of the sport. So I'm sorry to see that.
Speaking of divisions still, Joey wanted to know, what's the intent of production?
Production actually is our most powerful, not our biggest, obviously, but our most powerful division. It's also our most influential. So listen to that comment, right? Shannon, what do you mean the most influential? Everyone shoots open. Look at Chad. He just won the AG Cup. Like, that's super influential. Sure. But when you look at 3 years ago, the industry wasn't paying attention to us. Now they're all want to be involved with the Purists. Now they're all selling production guns. You have custom manufacturers absolutely trying to leverage other custom component makers to get a gun at a price point underneath that. You got Ruger, you got Savage, you got Daniel Defense, all these companies, and there's many more. What are these PRS shooters doing? Well, we want to build a gun from that because people are influenced by the PRS. So yes, on the 2-day level, right? It is not as big as open. It is much bigger and much more common in the regional series where guys could get into an entry price point. If you look at the amount of guns that they have for the price point they have and the optics that are coming in at those price points, it is companies are lowering their prices to meet it. So we raised it, got a little pushback, but what that allowed everyone to do was it allowed everyone to be competitive, and now guys can get in. Yes, it's a little expensive sport, but much more reasonable than should they be. And that is part of network and bringing everyone together. Yeah, some guys don't want to shoot production. Okay, then don't do it. Some guys, it's their niche and they want to do it. So, is it ever going to be, do we have an intent to try to grow it to as big as open? No. Same for gas gun. No, it's a niche that we want to grab as many shooters as we can that wants to shoot it. But the production's working really, really well. Really well.
And so then on to our next class, we have 2 questions from TAC class. Ryan Hay asked, the TAC division bullet weight and muzzle velocity restrictions, are there any changes for 2022?
I'm sorry, Greg. Sounds like you're at K&M, buddy. What's up? Say that again.
Ryan Hay wants to know if there's any bullet weight or muzzle velocity changes for the TAC division for 2022 that are planned.
You froze up, man. Say that again real quick. I got part of it.
TAC division bullet weight and muzzle velocity changes for 2022.
Yeah, so you're breaking up a little bit. So I don't think there's any velocity change. The committee is going to take up some bullet weight changes. I don't think they're going to take up any velocity changes. They can if they want to. If that was your question, Greg, you sound like you're at K&M there for a minute. Couple notes of the same thing. I say, hey, committee, do you want to vote in this, or you're happy where it's at? And so if we get more than 50% that says, hey, we want to take it up, they take it up. They decided to take up the bullet weight. It has not been pressed to them. I think when you get 1 or 2 of them, that's 1 or 2 shooters that likely just want to shoot that bullet weight. The intent and tactical was for guys to come out, both military and guys that ex-military, whatever duty guys come out and compete, and guys that want the challenge and maybe a little bit inferior ballistics. To change it, I think would be a mistake, but the committee took it up. So they took it up. That means at least the people that voted to take it up might want to look at opening it. I don't think it's going to have any significant change to the tactical side. I don't think it's I don't think it's necessary, but let's see what the committee says. And if they want to include 185s, and then if they want to include higher, you're gonna have to go to 2232 because those guys are complaining. Then you have a change. Any change they do takes a year or 2 to implement. And what's the gain? A little better ballistics. I wish they would leave it as is for consistency for the sport. And if guys want better ballistics, maybe they could, once their barrels get shot out, maybe go to open. But those are my personal thoughts. And if the committee asks for estimate, I tell them that. But they wanted to take it up, and so if they decided to take it up, that means some of them agree with that change. So let's see what they say. So lobby them, lobby them.
And some of the guys over in the comments now are talking about factory ammo only for production division. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. So, some of that stuff I wouldn't, tacticals is, you could talk about 300 Win Mags and military guys and the history of what we have. And so I'm not saying we shouldn't keep up the change. I think we should be super cautious. I am actually not opposed to a limited class where in production you shoot 308, you shoot 140, grain, or 140 class grains from the manufacturers. But I don't think this year with our ammo shortage, that's going to be a very viable thing. And maybe that potentially could replace the tactical side, but to give guys another division there. But, those are just conceptual stuff, and those are good ideas. So, I don't know. There's different options out there. I just think, that's hard right now on our ammo shortage,
Joey asks on the production topic, is there a limit on calibers for production? Can a gunsmith make a production rifle chambered in dasher?
Is there a limit on calibers for production? Can a gunsmith make a production rifle chambered in a dasher? If he wants to, but he's going to follow the rules. He's going to have to be a class 7. He's going to have to produce at least 50 rifles a year before he even gets approved. And then he could choose, whatever calibers he wants. Most gunsmiths, custom gunsmiths, would find that very difficult to do unless they're doing a high volume like MPA or GA Precision. So that's tough to do. So, but yeah, at this point, no gunsmith can just make a production rifle. They need to produce a certain amount. We lived through that last year, unfortunately.
I'm pretty sure that Phil's rifle is available in the Dasher and the BR and the BRA and the GT.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the Gap rifle. See, what else do we have on the lives? Yep, Tyler confirmed MPMX production and Dasher.
Trying to make sure we got all these big comments. Lots of comments tonight to decipher through.
338 right now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What else, guys?
While he's zipping through there, is there so I ask you this just about every time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask it again. So if you had your dream, exactly what you wanted, where would PRS go to? Like what would it look like if you could have it, no money issues, no drama issues, just the PRS as you would want it envisioned? What would it be?
In what context, Jen?
I mean, would it be bigger or smaller or different matches or like?
No, I wish.
What it is now, like what's your biggest?
Well, one, I am, yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic looking at the landscape, how the landscape is right now as far as, the sport become a little bit more unified and people finding their niches. I'm very happy with that. And so I'm super happy with the work and everything that the match directors, the shooters, and the regional directors have done. 3 years ago, it was a little bit of a mess. I mean, it was rough. I'm super disappointed in, and I don't want to say it's our community. So this is broad and maybe a little wishy-washy, but I'm super disappointed in people, especially when we have such a good thing. And unfortunately, this what we'll talk about. I'm sure. Unfortunately, this week we lost 2 shooters that have been kind of involved in our community for some time. We just have to learn to treat, and a lot of it might just come down to as simple as respect. If you don't respect yourself, you're not going to respect other people. You got to be respectful of each other. It is okay to disagree, but for some reason, when you get on a computer, you type something, I don't know, I'm a psychology major. You get into it, you dig in, right, wrong, or indifferent, you get belligerent, you get personal, you get disrespectful. Sometimes you compromise your integrity. And social media is an incredibly powerful tool. We use it to push out a lot of information. I duck it very, very often, except for bare minimum. That's usually information, matches, and stuff like that, which potentially could hurt my business that provides a living for us. And because I know my position requires it. the problem with, me coming on your show, we talked about a little bit earlier, is all those people got to do, they feel like is they pop off and they're gonna get results. And I'm like, guys, we have systems in place. We have this committee, we've talked about it all night. Like, if you really want to change, or are you just a disgruntled person? Because when I talk to you, the first question I'm going to ask, and I do talk to a lot of people, especially if they send us a well thought out note, is what's your outcome? Like, what do you want? And if you can't answer that, because if you know your outcome, and I know what you want, then I could lead you a path to get it done. But we will absolutely stick to our processes and our structure, because it has gotten us to where we have. We took an organization that Joel and I handed on one piece of paper, which is chicken scratch notes of a couple matches. And we're out now. Those systems are sound and they work. They're imperfect, sure, but they're time and tested processes. And we put a ton of effort and leadership to get there. So if you don't like something like this Mulligan stuff, or wait a minute, today it's a Mulligan, well, someone's cheating. Well, the whole organization is lining covering down for people. And it's just like, if you're a new shooter, you see that, and you don't know the context that these people are like that, that's going to turn you off. Sponsors don't like that. The shooters don't like that. And the good thing is those people find themselves more and more alienated. So, at this point, the committee has given me in the rules through our social media policy. And, if guys are a cancer, we're going to let them stick their head out, and then we're just going to separate. And hopefully, we're going to try to do it as respectful as possible. But, at the end of the day, the sport's always going to be best. That's my biggest disappointment, I think. And it always happens at the end of the season. We're not going to tolerate it. I've lost 3 Christmases since I took this over, dealing with stuff. It's not going to happen this year. I'm going to spend time with my family. And so if people get belligerent and they don't belong, like all these comments, we'll look at them. And if people are out of line and they're bad for the sport, we are going to ask them to consider going to other places, because that is actually what our members want us to do. People are tired of it. I didn't see it. I heard Mike Lilly had a good little video he put up today about some of that stuff. And I think his points are probably in line with mine, because I'm getting to know the guy a little bit. And, sometimes you got to cut it out, and sometimes you got to grow by subtraction. And I don't want to do that. So, if you're coming at us where I'm a dictator, I'm a bully, this and that, and I'm calling you out, and I'm disrespectful, you're a liar, you're already on the track to not influence change, because I cannot do anything for you. If it has to do with a rule, like, I will not change it unilaterally, because one day you own it, you should change it, and the next day I'm a dictator. So, guys, we know that doesn't work. So that's why we have a committee, and I will always honor the committee as long as it comes to the rules. So I hope that helps. But no, I'm really happy. If we can improve that, then man, that would be awesome for our sport. Because when you go to the matches, when you go online, even at the AG Cup, when you're there shooting, it's the most awesome experience and awesome people that you have. And then if someone learns about it on the internet, they're like, oh man, these people are kind of crazy. What's this all? This sounds really rough, but I might go out. And then they meet the people and they're like, dude, this is awesome. And it's like, yep, we just got some bad apples that just don't know how to communicate. And maybe they didn't, mature enough to communicate properly. So yeah. What else?
I do love our shooting community.
No, I mean, that's the thing. We're talking about a handful of people. I wish they would just, if it's so bad, guys, and the match directors and the committee and everyone's doing such a bad job, like this is not a gas station. You don't, you can leave. Like it's okay if it's so bad and we're so terrible. Like don't do it. But if you're going to be with us and you're going to be in our house, this collective house that we all built, we really would like you not to take a big old deuce on the coffee table, because that's just bad manners. And usually is responded to in a certain way. So, but that's society. So I don't get it. I mean, some of these people, I don't get it. It's like Portland, man, I'm going to burn the city down. Okay. And I understand you're upset, but what are you trying to accomplish by doing that? You just burnt your city down. So these people that are telling half truths, all these things, dude, you want to burn your stuff down online? Those people end up not lasting too long. They usually self-select them ways out, because once you commit to something online, so anyway.
Yeah. So John Sneed he asked earlier, and John, I'm sorry, I wrote your comment down and totally pass by you. He asked if there's any chance of having a team competition to crown the top region. So like all the regions send their best competitors or something like that, and see which region is the best.
Well, we all know what the best region is, guys. Don't you know? I mean, it's obvious, but so everyone's like holding their breath right now. Guys, like, who cares? Like, because there's all this pit. Like, you know what, guys? Right now, I think the guys from Michigan are feeling pretty good about themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's good to them. But you know what? It wasn't but a month ago. I think the Central region was really good about themselves. I'll tell you what. There's a bunch of shooters out there that if I'm shooting against them, I'm going to know who they are. And I'm going to respect them regardless of region. They're top shooters. It doesn't matter what regions you're from. Why this is all coming from a certain range / area, and they're pitting these regions and saying the Central. That's just silly. I want healthy competition. I love when the Central guys chat with the West guys or the Southeast guys. Have kind of been quiet lately, but all in a healthy competition format, it's fun. But come on, man, the guys take it easy. But that's not a bad concept, John. Michigan to the line. I think I only saw you once this year, but I think it would be. I think I try to do that through the COVID year at K&M. I might do that again this year at K&M, and see what kind of legs it's got, and then before we like throw a separate match on it. And maybe because those guys like throwing money around. Hey guys, it's super cheap, like $25. Hey guys, $25 a man. Top 4, whatever. We'll figure out the structure. Let's see what you guys want to do at a place that's kind of close to the country. But there's always different concepts we do. But I don't think we're close to anything formal. There's a lot of matches these guys are going to.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool to mix it in with another match. You don't want to do it like at the finale or something like that, but a very popular match. And either beforehand, each region picks their teams, or okay, just whatever, we'll take the average score of the top 4 from each region, and it doesn't have to be for money. Maybe a cool plaque to send back to the regional director or to pass around to everybody in the region. Just something, bragging rights. Maybe a free set of custom Armageddon gear, cornhole bags, or something cool.
No, I mean, there's lots of ways you can do it. We'll get our heads wrapped around it, but I need to stop because what I shouldn't have said Michigan, because the Michigan Wolverines are the most unethical, cheating, terrible program imaginable. I do respect the shooters that are up there, but Michigan is going to lose. So yes, I couldn't care less, Mike Bell. I couldn't care less about Georgia. But like, as long as Michigan and Ohio State lose, I'm happy as an Irish fan. So I'm with you. I'm with you there, man.
Chad says, "Can there be a team chances?"
What's that?
Chad Heckler said, "Can there be a team chances?"
I don't know what that is. It says some weird thing between him and Francis. Like, I want to stay out of that. That sounds a little, this is a G-rated audience. Is it not?
So Ryan Hay wants to know if there's any chance of PRS Gas Gun Series coming back.
Man, we tried that, Ryan. We had some successful matches. We had one at our place that was good, and then the wheels just kind of came off it. So with all the matches, and we did see some analytics on that we were kind of eating our own. So I remember mine. I combined it with the bolt gun match, and it worked okay. It worked well. The numbers were good, but don't know if it's sustainable. I just don't know. So, and then the gas gun participation, even though that division was kind of like, hey, let's just allow guys to do it. It's not that high. So, and I think Noveski, I don't know if they're still doing it. If you look at some of the smaller frame attempts out there, like even if there's a ton of ARs out there, it always seems to be a struggle. So, and I don't want to lose focus on what we're doing. I don't think that's in our future. I don't.
That looks like about all the lives, other than the the jabbing each other over football and
Yeah, no, that's fun. Hey, guys, like, look, I know guys are emotional with the Mulligans. I'm going to ask you as respectfully as I can. Guys, let the committee do their job. This is what a professional organization does. This is what an organization that is grouped by people that freely choose to do it. Let the committee work. There will be an answer on Mulligans one way or the other. Period. That's it. There will be an answer. Let them hash it out. It might be into January, which there's very few matches between then and now. Like, let them figure it out. Yeah, I trust them to do the good job. Whether I agree with them or disagree them, it will be published, and you will. Everyone will see the minutes of that committee meeting on all the topics. Okay.
Tony Stein says you owe him an apology.
For what? Yes. So Tony.
Ohio State comment.
Oh, that's right? I forgot. Yeah. So Tony's a good dude. Tony had a good post, and I love Tony. He's trained with us, and he came on the other day, seeing some of the shenanigans on Facebook, and he was like, "Man, these guys are doing an awesome job," and mentioned Shannon Julia. Man, hey Tony, do me a favor, erase that. He said, "Well, it was nothing bad." I'm like, "I know it wasn't bad," but I'm like, Tony, one thing we do with special organizations, we don't make it about ourselves. We make it about the shooters and the processes and the organization and the sponsors and all that, and match directors. Like, I appreciate the sport, but don't do it. And I don't think you really understand it. So we had a good conversation, but he's a good dude. I will not apologize to him about Ohio State. I don't like that place at all, but I respect them because they are a good program, unfortunately. So, but now that we got rid of our coach, we'll see what happens with the Irish. So we'll see. We play them. Oh man, Tony's going to get on me next year. They're probably going to beat us because that's okay though. That's okay. So you got to give the respect, you know.
Ghost 5 Tactical wants to know, is there any way the committee meetings could be open Zoom to be watched? What is discussed?
Yeah, so the answer would be that's impossible, because the way that happens, because you have to understand every single person on the committee, no one is like, I know people see that PRS is this big organization with this big staff. The committee is made up of people all across the country. It is not done via Zoom or on video. It is done, like, I will put a topic up today, depending on when those 40 people all across the country with the holidays and their work schedule, when they could come and vote, will jump on in there. So sometimes things could take a couple hours, but more likely most topics take a couple of days, sometimes longer if I have to keep reviewing the rules. And that's why I call it making sausage. We're making sausage to try to produce a meal. Because I will keep refining what the committee says and votes on, and it's up to them. So we publish, and I want the committee members to speak freely, and we will publish the minutes, which is a snapshot, which is very a well-practiced, best practice for most organizations that are member-based. We'll publish the minutes of what the committee member said. We show you how the committee votes and who abstains for whatever reason. So we'll give that to you, but there's really nothing to watch other than what happens on Facebook. So, you know, we're pretty transparent there, but it doesn't happen in real time.
And Tony asked, is there any way that there could be people on the committee that are not, what's the word, match directors?
So yeah, we're trying that. Adam's doing a good job with that. Adam took a couple at-large match directors, and he took a couple shooters. And I'm not opposed to putting on one shooter per region. I don't see a problem with that. A shooter that's elected or selected, however they want to do it. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. But our system works right now because those match directors are essentially elected. But they have the best shooters. They have the shooters' interests at heart, in the sense that if they don't do it right, they're going to have to live with the consequences, and the shooters may or may not participate in their matches. So I think there's plenty of checks and balances there, but I'm not opposed to putting a shooter there. But that shooter needs to have, most of the year, nothing happens on it. We only take up rules mid-season if it's a gaping hole, catastrophic type stuff that needs to be fixed immediately. If it's like the Mulligans, they've been going on for 10 years. That is something that we're not going to do. And there's a lot of wisdom in letting the emotion die off from social media and making very sound decisions. It kind of goes back to the flagging. Hey, we need to have a no tolerance policy. Okay, I agree with you. We always want more safety, but what are the practical implications of that no tolerance? Hey, Jen, you just walked in front of Shannon's muzzle. Shannon, you're DQ'd. Oh, the match director didn't DQ Shannon because they're buddies and he's the PRS director. No, guys, that's not how it happened. Like, two people just kind of made mistakes. So, you know, everything's perception. And unfortunately, people have some bad motives sometimes. So we want to make it right. Safety will always come first. And understand, guys, you go out to Arizona, you go to Virginia's place, you put your hand on top of your muzzle. That's not a warning. That is, hey guys, your car's right there. Pack your stuff and go home. And you know what? That is absolutely okay. The PRS rules are an absolute minimum for the match directors could always add to. So that's why there's a lot of wisdom in our processes, and it works really well.
Bobby Keegan says, can we have committee members that are not match directors that the members in each region vote for to represent their respective region, like a Congress, like where they're voted on by the people in that region, the members in that region?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why that would, other than the size. Now we're talking 50 people. That's, you know, if you take the Amazon approach, which we're already busted, if it's more than two pizzas could feed, you're probably not going to have a good working group. So I'm a little concerned about that. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But there would have to be some precautions in place. They have to be the right shooters. They would have to care. See, the match directors have vested interest in it to care. Some of the shooters, my fears would be they just want to be in there to be in there, and they don't necessarily understand the you know, some of the serious matters that they have to take. And if some of that information is misused, that would be problematic. But I don't, you know, if we got the right people, the people vote the right people, trust the shooters, I don't see an issue with that. That's something we can consider at the end of this year and institute it for next year if the committee votes. And I'll take that to committee. I don't see why they would vote against it. But
and a bunch of people have said like a representative per region. You know, so you have a representative per region. So you have your match directors, and then the region says we want this shooter to represent us.
Yeah, I mean, we have the regional directors in there. Yeah, we could, and people understand like, well, the match directors are match directors. Okay, so 90% of our match directors are shooters too. So guys, keep that in mind. In fact, some of our best match directors are shooters. So, you know, there's shooters in there too. So guys, don't compartmentalize what you see as far as, you know, what I'm talking about. So, you know.
Lots of chatter about that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's most of
the
see,
even like some of the, so, you know, guys, like you guys choose the match directors. If you don't go to their match, then that match is either self-selected or at this point we don't renew them. So like you guys, like everyone wants instant gratification. So, you know, like who picks the match directors? Okay, well, wink, wink, yeah, that's real funny, Bobby, but like you do. If you don't like them, then don't shoot their match. And then guess what? They won't have a match. Someone else will step up their place.
There is a minimum number of shooters to count as a Pro Series 2-day match.
Like Bobby, like you work for Phil, you're a business partner with him. He's a match director. He's a shooter. He's on the committee. Like you pick him. Like, you know, it's a little disconnected, but people people definitely don't understand the time constraints these guys have. They don't understand how small our staff is. But like I said, I don't have opposed to it. If guys want to bring it up to one of their match directors on the committee and say, hey, I think we should have shooters, like, absolutely, let's do it, you know, but I'm going to leave that to the shooters. Like, you guys need to vote them and need to be in there. They need to participate. If they don't participate, then it's not sexy at all. It is work. And they need to they need to represent those shooters, just like the regional directors do and everyone else in the committee does.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool just to have like, not saying like, oh, get rid of the match director, blah, blah, blah. But I think it would be kind of cool, like an additional perspective. And, somebody voted on by the registered members of their region. Every year the region has an election and says, this is our dude. He's not a match director. He's nothing else. He's just the dude that we think best represents our opinions to go and have his vote in the board. I think that would be kind of
yeah, that's fine. I mean, those things often turn into popularity contests, but I don't think it's going to change anything.
Because right now,
one way or other,
like you said, the people that are currently there, you have to have X amount of shooters to run a match. If you don't have that many people, because people don't like the way you run a match, then you don't have a match, you don't have a vote. But it would be just something where there's no ifs, ands, or but about it. It's, hey, here's how many people voted for that person. That's why he's got that.
No, I don't think it's a bad concept. Like I said, Adam's doing that in Rimfire already. I think he has 5 or 6 shooters that he put on there. A little less formal than what we're talking about is voting, but that's new and I'm okay with that. But I think, I mean, if these guys want to vote and they want to get on the committee for next year, I think that would be, if nothing other than optics, it would be a win and be a good look so the shooters feel like they have. But our community is so small. These guys know everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like Bobby could walk across the office and be like, hey, Phil, like, how are we voting on this? You know what I'm saying? So Bobby's just being Bobby. He's just being silly.
So Joey's already voted for John Sneed for committee member.
Dude, absolutely. He has my vote too in the Southeast.
All right. I think we're about good on lives. We're good on questions. This is night number how many in a row up late talking and shooting and all of that stuff. I think it's bedtime for all of us.
Yeah.
Hey, one more thing, guys. So, I just want to address it about the cheating stuff, right? So, and if I can, I know you guys are tired and I appreciate it. Look, guys, when things we're not an organization that's going to run people noses and mistakes. So when people accuse us on social media, of sweeping other stuff on the rug, they are not looking at our history of investigations of how we do business. So when a shooter at a venue who is a brand new match director and a month prior had an issue, a 2-day where we did have to get involved because a very black and white cut and dry mistake was involved in a reshoot. When a shooter that's been shooting for 4 months is getting a spot, which many match directors have, and they allow newer shooters, which is match director discretion, which every regional match that I know has, allows people to, when they're struggling, to get some help. People do it different ways. Some people put armbands on them. Some people, the first 3 matches, some people, until they get to 50 points or whatever, are allowed some help, right? It came up to us. It didn't come through our official. So there's some failures, right? First thing is, if you have an issue, they should have went to the match director. If that wasn't sufficient, it should have went to the regional director. If that wasn't sufficient, it should have went to the PRS director. It did come to us first. It did not come directly to me because I have no record of it, but I do remember it. It came to our administrative assistants from a friend to a friend through a text message. But I did hear about it because this one, Chrissy's awesome at it. Hey, this is what happened. Okay, Roger. I never saw the video until I think it was yesterday, maybe the day prior when it was posted. And it was corrected and it was adjudicated, and mistakes were made. At that point, probably in hindsight, that shooter probably should have been on her own. But during the course of looking into it, when she did not know, and she corrected her behavior afterwards, and so did her shooting partner, there was no malicious intent of cheating. If you look at our rules, you look at cheating, and yes, if it's not a new shooter, which is a match director discretion, that was not an unscrupulous manner in the sense that I'm trying to hide this. This was, I saw the video. I was like, whoa, yeah, that's like definitely wrong. That's outside the rules. So what were the details there? Oh, I do remember the details. It was her 3rd or 4th match. She was shooting for 4 months. She didn't realize the rule. Her husband's only been shooting for 9 months. He didn't realize it. They got corrected. They were super embarrassed and apologies back. Hey, they got warned. Hey, don't do that again. And the match director was brand new. I don't think he had any oversight on it. And it was corrected. I don't want to be part of a culture at our one-day matches to grow the sport where we take away that discretion from the match directors to welcome new shooters, because we all needed that help when we got started. And the match directors are always going to have that discretion. That is not the purest sweeping on the road, because I didn't even remember it. And for it to dwell for 8 months, like we're doing an investigation, I don't even know what you're talking about. I never saw the video, deleted the video. There's so much bad information out there. It's sad. So, yeah, with the way she shot that match, should she have probably stopped getting assistance that match? Probably. Did she know about it? Okay, we're going to take that into account. Yeah, she didn't know about it. Okay, she was very truthful, very remorseful. We're not in the business at one-day matches to do that. And so I think that was a mistake made. I think they're made all the time, but they're corrected pretty quick in those one-day matches. Like, hey, Greg, awesome, man. You've been shooting pretty good, man. You had a good gap grind. I think you're on your own now. We all made those transitions. We want to leave that up to the match director. We do. That's not a cover-up. That is doing the right call given the circumstances. The circumstances, the match director was his first one. He was a fill-in, is doing a favor. The circumstances, the shooter didn't know. Clearly, the husband didn't know because he wasn't trying to hide it, because I saw the video. He's screaming on top of his lungs. So you can't just take the video. You have to look at the context. The better approach would have been, hey, match director, this female won the trophy. She wasn't sponsored. She's wearing some shirt, right? She's shooting for 4 months. Hey, she shot pretty well. Don't you think she should not be getting assistance? What are you guys doing down there? Because we want the rules to, be followed. But yes, with the caveat that we're helping new shooters. We all want that. Otherwise, we won't have matches. What should have happened is a match director should have been contacted. He wasn't. The regional director should have been contacted. He wasn't. I should have been contacted. I was contacted. Our administrative assistant, who doesn't deal with the rules, was contacted, but she was good enough to tell me. She adjudicated it, and I was okay with how it's solved given those circumstances. That's what I know of the situation. If you want to avoid that in the future, what the best way to do is like, hey, I understand we want new shooters to shoot, but I also see the rules as are written. Maybe we could codify in the rules in the one-day matches that, hey, shooters get 3 matches where they get assistance, or shooters could get assistance before they get memberships, but once they get a PRS membership, they no longer get assistance, or whatever that answer is up to you guys to submit to the committee. But I definitely don't want to be in charge and lead the PRS if we're not going to be welcoming the new shooters. And if they blur the lines a little bit, our community is so awesome. I know they're gonna correct it, just like it happened in this case. So there's no cover up, there's no cheating here, and to say so to this couple is unbecoming and very, very self-serving. Since then, they've been shooting fine. There's been no issues. They just didn't know the rule, and there was failures from the whole squad and maybe the RO and the match director and the PRS on that one to maybe catch it a match prior. But like I said, we have 800 matches. The PRS is not going to be adjudicating those things on the ground. We don't have representatives at all these matches. That's why the match directors are on the committee, so they form and shape the rules. And that might not make some people happy, but that's the culture of our sport. We're going to be welcoming. We're going to enforce the rules, but we're also going to give those match directors the discretion they're required to welcome new shooters. All right.
Sounds good. Any more lives come up on that?
No, we are good on lives.
I did have one person that asked, I don't think we talked about this maybe. Where can they find the minutes? Where are they posted so that they can?
So the minutes are posted on the PRS website. The first time we did it was this year, because usually, like I said, the minutes will be definitely posted when the new rules get updated. So I'd have to talk to the boss lady about that. I want to say they're in About, or some of our, let me see this about the precision rifle series. I'm going to the page. When
I think he froze.
I have to get with Julie, so I have to.
So I
not to
know
sound
that
like,
I know that the last ones were posted on the PRS paid members page.
He's dying.
Yep, there's that Jackson, Tennessee internet again.
Right out there for you.
So you've been froze for that whole time. But what we know is they last time we know they went out on the PRS paid members page. And I'm sure that Shannon's going to figure out where else they're posted, and we'll get that back to you guys. Last question, Ryan Hay said, last one, 2-day schedule updates. When should we expect the latest list?
Okay, so here's what I'm working on is there's no guarantees. I know there'll be a match in Utah on the Labor Day weekend. We added Washington Spencer Munn's match. We added Adam Liebenberger's match at the Bomber Run by MDT. We are in talks with a potential match, but that is going to be out west potentially. But that is very early. I don't see us adding any more matches than that. I want to see the numbers and reassess. I do think we should be about 35 matches. We're about 40 now, and so we'll reassess at the end of the year. I expect something during the Christmas time, if not the first week in January. Any updates. After that, it gets a little too late to add. All right. And the website will be returned and refreshed pretty quickly here as soon as we could reset it now that the AG Cup is over.
Awesome.
But the schedule is up on the website already. You just got to scroll down. It's just the map's not updated.
Cool. All right. Well, with that, I think we're going to go to shout outs before I turn into a pumpkin. So we'll start with Greg.
I'm muted.
Say Greg.
Real quick, we got GSL suppressors right here, PDC custom right here. Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges. Shooters World Powder, still have it in stock at Shooters. Hunters HD Gold, see it up there. I'm super blind. I can see stuff good with that. And Fix It 6, because I love taking things apart and putting them back together again, and it's really easy to do with those.
Awesome. Shannon, you got any shout outs?
No, guys, we have a ton of sponsors. Obviously, Hollis is our title sponsor. I want to thank the guys that supported the AG Cup. There was a lot of them. I know Tom and you guys probably discussed them, but that is such an aspirational event for everybody. And we have so much support from these guys. So get shooters, don't ruin it. Support these companies, get after it. You know, we get the arrow is pointed up. We're in an awesome trajectory. So my shout out is really to the shooters that do the right thing, to everyone that helps volunteer, your guys included, for the sport, and all the work that everyone does. It's super humbling to work with you guys and to get after everything. So be proud of what you've accomplished, and don't let others that are unhappy tear it down, and be a influence for change with respect and understand the processes, and let's exercise and let's put that pressure on the committee to do the right thing for our sport. Okay.
Sounds like a plan. And I just want to shout you out for coming on and spending 2 hours of your night after. I know you've had a rough couple of weeks with all of the finales.
Yeah.
And all of that, so you need to go spend some time with Jules and the kids. But we appreciate you coming on and answering questions. I feel like it's better to get the information straight from, straight from your mouth, and instead of not knowing the whole story or whatever. So I think it's better just to ask the questions to you on here. And I encourage anybody that has any further concerns just to reach out to Shannon or the committee. The information's on the website. Can't find it, message them on Facebook, whatever, just to get some information. I would definitely suggest going to them and getting some answers that way. But with that, we will see y'all next week. And that's a wrap for episode 360.